All right, today we are picking up with what we did yesterday. You were just solving these problems. It's a fraction with a equal sign in between, so we're going to cross multiply. And I have m plus 3 times m minus 2 equals 3 times 8, which is 24. All right, I'm going to distribute twice or FOIL. All right, it's the same thing. That's going to equal 24. I'm going to combine like terms. Okay. Now I have a quadratic, right, which means I'm going to try to bring everything to one side of the equation so that I can have a quadratic set equal to 0, right? If quadratic set equal to 0, now I can factor and say, what are my factors of C that add up to B, right? Because my A is a 1, so I'm allowed to just figure out what are my factors of C that add up to B. Okay, so I would get m plus 6, m minus 5. So what m values would give me 0? This would be m equals negative 6, and then over here this would be m equals 5. All right, quickly just check to make sure that they make sense, meaning like if I go back to my original problem and I see this m minus 2, if one of these answers was a positive 2, you can't divide by 0. So if one of these answers was a positive 2, if we plugged it back into the equation, we would get no solution. So seeing, neither of my answers would give me 0 there. So I should be good, but just to make sure, if I put negative 6 in there, I would get negative 3 over 3 equals 8 over negative 8. And yep, that makes sense. So this is an answer. And then real quick, if I did 5 plus 3 and 5 minus 2, yep, that works too. So both are good. All right, this one's going to be a little bit harder because if we look when we cross multiply, okay, some of you might already see it, but we're going to get 3y plus 24 equals y squared plus 5y. So again, we're going to have to move everything over. So really the only difference between this problem and the last one is, I guess the order of things, and just it's going to take a little longer. So I'd still have the 3y on this side of the equation. Now I get 5y minus 24. Yep, I'm going to subtract 3y on both sides. Okay, now I have a quadratic set equal to 0, which means I am going to factor. Again, my A is 1, so I just say, what are my factors of C that add up to B? What are my factors of negative 24 that add up to positive 2? That would be positive 6 and negative 4. So I get y plus 6, y minus 4. So my answer is y equals negative 6, y equals 4. Again, just going back, making sure that makes sense. If I put either of these answers in, would that give me, dividing by 0 error or anything like that? No. You should be good. Just to make sure, though, since, I am a teacher, so I should probably check. I get negative 6 over 3 and 2 over negative 1, right? That makes sense. So that's an answer. And then if I plug 4 back in, I would get 4 over 3 equals 12 over 9. If I reduce this and this, it would give me this. So that is, in fact, an answer as well. So I'm good. I would have 2 answers for this problem. All right, last one for today. Again, I'm going to cross multiply. So I get 2x minus 3, x plus 4 equals 6. So I'll distribute, right? And again, that's what foiling is. All foiling is just distributing twice. All right, now I'm going going to combine, like terms. Subtract 6 on both sides. And unfortunately, I can already see it's going to happen. I am going to have to factor, but I have an a, right? I finally have a coefficient that's not 1 for my a term. So I'm going to have to check and look for a GCF, right? 2, 5, and 18 unfortunately do not have a GCF, so I'm going to have to say, okay, fine, what's my factors of a times c now that are going to add up to b? So what are my factors of negative 36 that add up to 5? And that would be 9 and 4. So since it's positive 5, I'm going to make the 4 negative there. All right, so what does this mean? This just gives us what we're going to break up this trinomial as. We're going to break it up as a positive 9x and a negative 4x, right? That's all I have found so far, is just what I need to rewrite my problem as, right? That's what the whole a times c thing gives you. Now I say, what are my, what's my GCF here, which is x. And let's go green again. What's my GCF here? That would be negative 2. Yeah. Which I'd be left with 2x plus 9. So if you are a little, uncertain if you got the right GCF, just make sure that the what's in the parentheses is the same that'll let you know that you're on the right track. All right, and now I just rewrite my answer x minus 2, right, using the 2 GCFs that I found, and then the 2x plus 9, right? So I've successfully factored. Now what I have to do is say, okay, well, what x value would give me 0 here? That would be x equals 2. And then over here, it's not as, easy to see. Okay, you could do it in your head, but just make sure that we're all on the same page here. If we solve a quick equation, all right, you get x equals negative 9 over 2, or negative 4.5 should be your answer. Okay, now again, you just want to make sure that you wouldn't get a 0 if you plug it back into this equation, because you can't divide by 0. Neither of them, that would happen. But again, just since we're here, let's just double check and make sure that both of these make sense. If I plug 2 into the equation, I would get, 4 minus 3 over 2 equals 3 over 6. Okay, that makes sense, right? Because 1 over 2 equals 1 over 2 once you reduce. So this is good. And then over here, I would get 2 times negative 9 over 2 minus 3 over 2 equals 3 over negative 9 over 4 plus 4, which would give me, let's see, negative 9 minus 3 would give me negative 12 over 2. And then on the right side of the equation, I would get 3 over, if I make these fractions common denominator by multiplying by 4, I would multiply by 4 up here, so it would give me, 7 over 4, right? And then if I have 3 divided by 7 over 4, that's the same as 3 times 4 over 7, which give me 12 over 7, which does not work out. So what the heck did I do wrong here? Oh, I know what I did. This is negative 9 over 2. I mistakenly wrote 9 over 4, so that should be a 2. Sorry about that. So if this is a 2, then 2 times 4 would be 8, which would give me negative 1 over 4, which would give me, sorry, sometimes when I make mistakes, I feel like I try to do it too fast here. All right, so again, what I did wrong was I put in the wrong number for the right side of the equation. So I'm putting in negative 9 over 2. And from my original equation, we have to add 4 to that. And see if that makes sense. So, sorry, if I make this a 2, that means I multiply the top by 2, which would give me a 8. So I have I have 3 divided by -1 over 2, which is 3 times 2 over -1, which would give me -6, right? Okay, and those two things are equal, so I'm good actually. All right, all that work just to figure out that my answer was already right. Okay.